perfectly.
Definitely.
I'm
Awesome.
excited to do this.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. I think your story is really exciting and inspiring. And, I'll give you a little bit of a background of my whole journey, this YouTube channel, podcast, and super interested in, what you're building and how far this can go. Before we start, do you mind if I plug Insta? Uh, do like a little story or something?
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for
Okay,
it.
perfect. I posted like a preview or I reposted one of your reels and I got so many like comments and likes already. I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Yay! I'm so excited. I'm really excited to be doing it.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Dini.
I'm so excited.
Let's go.
If you don't mind tagging Sitch NYC as
Yeah.
well, so that if anyone wants to join, we can also like maybe we can make a code like Stoic for anyone who
Yes,
wants to join through that, so they can like have an invite code that'll actually allow them to access the platform.
definitely. That's a great idea. I just
In
tagged.
fact, I will make it right now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I'm posting now. I tagged Sitch and your Insta handle.
Perfect.
Awesome. New
And
York today.
New York, I honestly haven't left my house since the morning when I went to the gym. So
Oh,
I'm like, it looks like it's freezing cold,
really?
but okay, cool. Stoic is created and they'll get expedited reviews so they won't have to be on the wait list.
Perfect. Awesome. That was fast. Wow.
Yeah, that's the benefits of having built out our infrastructure that allows for things like this.
Definitely. Awesome, Dini. So thanks for coming in. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a background. My name's Aditya. I actually grew up in Bangalore until I was 15, and then my parents moved to upstate New York in Albany. I went to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I currently work as a product manager in Chicago. I know in your reel you were doing a lot of product interviews, so I was like, I feel your pain, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, and over the last year, I actually had a personal setback. Almost a year and a half ago, I lost my grandma, I broke my back, and I ended a long distance relationship. So I was really messed up, but I started reading books about stoicism, listening to podcasts, and it kind of gave me like a personal code to follow when, when I have anxiety and stuff like that. And I kind of used it to build my own passion project. I built a YouTube channel that has about 79K subscribers. I'm building my own product. So would love to get some of your advice on that. And I'm starting my podcast. We're on episode 30. So you're my 30th guest.
Oh, I'm honored.
It's an honor to have you and excited to grow. Also, I think we know people in common. Sudhanshu Mishra was a senior of mine. He's a good friend. So,
No way. No way. Slanchu is literally one of my favorite people. We interned at McKinsey together in
wow.
2016. So we go back a really, really long time. And he literally danced at my wedding. So
Oh,
that's how he,
really?
yeah.
Did not know that. That's great. Another thing I would love to add. So one reason I'm super interested in Sitch and what you're building, my girlfriend and I met her on Bumble, and we consider ourselves like a dating app success story. Very serious about her. So she gave me a long list of questions. She's like, ask her this, ask her this, you know. So
I love that. I love that. I mean, honestly, like Bumble, like Whitney Wolf has been one of my biggest inspirations. So,
right,
I think, they innovated like the traditional swiping apps innovated like 10 years ago and it's
right,
ripe for disruption and it's ripe for new blood. And the problem is that dating app success stories like yourselves are so far and few between now that
right.
we really have to think about like what can we do to like really improve.
Yeah, definitely. And I noticed I actually downloaded your app. My girlfriend scolded me, but I was like, research purposes only.
Research, you can delete it immediately.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I did. But I noticed the questions you guys asked, and I noticed on your LinkedIn you specialize in prompt engineering. So I made the connection. I was like, wow. And then I saw that reel of you and your co-founder, and I was like, okay, there's something here. So excited to kind of unravel some of these disruptions that you say that you are headed towards in terms of traditional swipe apps. So yeah.
Awesome. I'm so excited to get started, and
Sure.
obviously like happy to answer any and all questions, unless of course it's like too much of a trade secret, but I don't
Understood.
think we'll get to that. So,
For sure.
so yeah, I guess like I'll leave like have you like let me know if I should do like the quick introduction and
Yes.
then
Of course.
uh,
Yeah, so could you start right at the top? Where did you grow up? What were you like as a kid? What were your motivations? What path did you follow all the way up to the inspiration and the motivation for this app? So, yeah.
it's funny that we're on a podcast about stoicism because I actually would describe myself as the exact opposite of it. Like
Oh,
I
really?
am really like the best way to describe me is like maybe like I love the ups and the downs. Like I think one
Right.
of the most beautiful things in life is really like to feel the highs and feel the
Yeah.
lows and know that those are both temporary and that like you'll like swim through them along the way. But I love to like I love a good cry. I love to be
Right.
super excited. I'm like generally very like a happy, positive person. Like I don't like feeling the same emotion for too long. And I've sort of like always been like this. I've always been a very outgoing person. I love to chat with people. And I think certain things are genetic and hereditary. And I'm
Definitely.
very like my maternal grandma, so my nanny.
Right.
And of all like I like say it's from even like the small things where it's like she's the only person from my six like my parents and grandparents who has curly hair. We have a lot of
Mhm.
the same mannerisms. We love to chat with anyone. But
Mhm.
most importantly, she's a matchmaker. So she
Oh,
set up 26 couples. And I kind of grew up like with her, just like always talking about it. She like always was like on the phone with someone on her landline, being like, oh,
right.
had your son or daughter met this person? Oh, let me connect them, that kind of like vibe. So,
Right.
when you grow up in that culture, I grew up in Bombay, grew up in like a very, like a very typical like Indian background where
Right.
there's a lot of people who have arranged marriages. There's a lot of people who get set up by their families, by their extended friends. Like, I think that there's like very much a culture of your like networks and connections helping you make this like big decision about your life. So I always grew
100%.
up in that, right? And I think that that really influenced me from a young age. I will also say that Bollywood movies definitely and Karan influenced me. Like I'm
Of
a big
course. Yeah.
and I love like I'm like you'll never catch me reading nonfiction. Like you'll always catch
Oh,
me reading crunchy romance. Like that's like
love
my
it.
guilty. Like I'm never like, oh, like I want to watch TV or anything like that. Like my big thing is like it's like you'll catch me reading like a Regency romance. You'll catch me
Right.
reading like an Emily Henry book. You'll catch me just like really like romance and love has just been a thing that I've always enjoyed and
Right.
like loved, right? So that's kind of like, like sort of the undercurrent of like my interests and passions alongside
Right.
a bunch of different things that have just like existed
Mhm.
along the way. And yeah, I grew up in India, grew up in Bombay, went to K through 12 school up until the 10th grade, then actually went to boarding school not far from you in New Hampshire.
Oh, I
So
see.
yeah, so I went for my 11th and 12th grade to Phillips Exeter, and that was
Awesome.
a really big transition for me life-wise,
Mhm.
just because you grow up going like I grew up going to a Catholic school where everyone had been in the same class since we were in the second grade, all of that. And
Right.
I got put in this new environment. And I think one of the first things that like I was like faced with was everyone at Exeter is
Yeah.
incredibly smart. And my
Right.
identity, sort of coming up until that point, was oh, my differentiating factor amongst my like group in school is that I'm really smart. But when you're
Right.
in an environment where everyone is smart, which was the first time in my life I was really dealing with that, like the
Yeah.
Math Olympiad team goes to Exeter, like, you're like
Right.
really like dealing with like the top kids from every single high school across the US and across the world.
Yeah.
So suddenly it became like, well, what is my identity then, right? Like,
Right.
what makes me different from all of the other smart kids? And something that I really sort of like went like honed in on was again this like here like love and relationships and like whatnot. It just was a thing that I enjoyed. So I actually started a column in our high school newspaper called Guru Nandini Says, and it
Oh,
was a dating advice column.
right.
So you can really see those like connective, like invisible string that like goes
Mhm.
through my neck. So I like start this column and it is absolutely insane. Like it is really not what 16-year-olds should be publishing. Like it's like a controversial thing. And keep
Right.
in mind that this is being published in the oldest high school newspaper in America. Like it
Wow.
is like This is not like, oh, like, we're printing it on A4 pages and
Right.
like we're distributing it. It's like
It's very
every week,
prestigious, like the
yeah,
newspaper.
every week this goes out to alumni, to families. Like it is like a real, like physical thing. The
Right.
trustees, after 3 weeks, were like, what is she doing? Like, what is going on? Who has approved any of this, And
Right.
that's like, and they literally like, this column cannot run. But it
Right.
like kind of like started this like, kind of, like, I don't want to say like, just it created this brand and identity
Right.
around me at boarding school of like, oh, I'm like the relationship person. Like I
Right.
love talking about dating. I give great advice. Unclear if it was true at that time whether I gave good advice or I was just good at writing pretty like funny pieces.
Right.
But I mean, like that was like again, like as I was going through life, it just started to become like as my identity was forming, this like
Mhm.
love aspect just like existed in it. I
Right.
then went to Georgetown for college. And at Georgetown, I like walked into like the School of Foreign Service, like
Right.
very sure that I wanted to like be in politics and public policy and whatnot.
Yeah.
I also simultaneously to all of that, like, I was like working on like like I was one of the founding members of the Georgetown India Initiative. We like
Right.
hosted like what was DC's largest India conference for several years.
Right.
Was really involved with like designing the futures of the university, which is like this really big program that
Mhm.
Georgetown runs on what is the future of higher education, TA'd like
Mhm.
these classes, did all of this, literally like started in like at the India Innovation Lab, which the Gates
Mhm.
Foundation like funded. So it was like
Right.
I was very like in the zone of like education, policy,
Right.
government, like, what can I do? But I
Yeah.
was also in sorority, which
Oh,
is
I
where
see. I was
fun,
in a
fun.
fraternity, so I know the vibes.
Yeah. And the one thing you need when you're in a sorority is
Mhm.
you always need dates for formal, right?
Right. A lot of
And
formals. Yep.
lots of formals. And because I ran in all of these, like more like consulting,
Mhm.
financy, like just like I did a lot of very male dominant or at least highly co-ed environments.
Right.
Every formal that we had, I was always setting people up. Like I literally was like, I
Right.
7, 8 different friends would be like, "Can you find me a date?" I was like, "Of course I can find you a date," and it was so much fun. It's like
Yeah.
the little things where you don't realize, oh, this is giving me so much pleasure. This is what people are coming to me, for.
Right.
And so that just was like an undercurrent. Like
Yeah.
again, like, and like I would always be like, "Oh, let me set you up with someone. Oh, let me introduce you to someone."
Yeah.
And people would always talk about it to me. I graduate from Georgetown. I'm like, actually, when I graduate from Georgetown, something like the last week of school, I
Mhm.
get into both Harvard and Stanford for business school.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
so at that point, I'm like, okay, I technically have a return offer to McKinsey, but suddenly that's looking like the smartest like decision because it's
Mhm.
like I have 2 risk-free years to do
Right.
anything in the world that I want.
Right.
I did unfortunately want to stay in the US, so I was like, okay,
Right.
I'll take my McKinsey offer and stay.
Understood. Yeah.
So I
Get
did.
them sponsored
uh,
first, then do the,
yeah, so I was like, oh, I have
adventurous.
1 year, so like let me enjoy it. My friends are all
Mhm.
staying, so I didn't want to leave. So
Right.
I was at McKinsey and spent a year in DC. I loved it. I worked on some
Mhm.
of the most fun projects. Like people have horror stories. I have nothing but good things to say about McKinsey. I loved the people I met. I'm still super close to a lot of them.
Right.
Worked on like really interesting government projects because I was in the DC office. Like I really got to like do a lot of things.
So did
Um,
they pause your Harvard and
so I did
Stanford?
deferred. Yeah, so
So
it's like
you
so
did the
basically
2+2 program
I
that
did two
Sudhanshu
plus
did?
two.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I did. So Sudhanshu did it the year after me. So
Oh, that's where you got
he
the inspo.
also, I'll say he got the inspo from me. But yeah, so I applied early, and I sort
Mhm.
of knew that because I'd heard it actually from my McKinsey colleagues that like
Yeah.
it's actually not, the odds are still really low of
Yeah.
getting in. So what it does is it forces you to take your standardized testing. It
Mhm.
forces you to get your recommendations in order. It gives you kind of like a test run of what it's going to look like, right? Like
Right.
when you actually apply. And
Mhm.
that's actually what all my mentors told me. They were like, just apply. You're probably not going to get in.
Right.
So don't walk in assuming you'll get in. Walk in assuming that at least you'll have some shit done for the future. So
Definitely.
that's how I approached it. Like I really approached it like that to the point where I was like, this is such a like shot in the dark. Like,
Mhm.
I got my interviews. I was like, oh, this is a shot in the dark. Like I'm not really
Yeah.
like nervous or worried. I'm so sorry. My like doorbell is ringing right
Yeah,
now.
go for it.
Back in.
Yeah. No, totally. Go for it.
Um, okay, so
Yeah.
so basically, I wasn't really sure whether like I didn't do it assuming I
Mhm.
would get in, but when I did get in, of course, like so excited, so thrilled, couldn't believe it. Literally,
Yeah.
like Actually, crazy story.
Hmm.
I don't know how it's done now, but
Yeah.
it used to be that Harvard comes out on one day and then Stanford comes out the day after.
Right.
Um, so I got an email from Harvard saying like, congratulations, welcome to 2+2. I get a phone call from a random number
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, oh, it's like, I kind of knew like, oh, they call you to like congratulate you,
Right.
etc. So I pick up and they go like, hi, is this Nandini? I'm like, yeah, is this Harvard? And they're like, no, this is Stanford.
Oh,
And
damn.
I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, congratulations, you got it. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, really? Like, I thought someone was pranking me. So my
Yeah.
email, like my first, like not my official acceptance, because that comes the day
Yeah.
after, but I get an email from Stanford, like the person who I spoke to being like, that was
Hmm.
not a joke. Like, you
Right.
are actually in. And I was
That's
like, this is
crazy.
a crazy, crazy day.
Yeah.
It was one of like it really like was such a defining moment of my life because it gave me so much flexibility
Yeah.
to like to like play around with like the 2 years that I
Hmm.
had in front of me. And so I did McKinsey, did it for a year, didn't get my H-1B, so went back to India,
Got you.
um, and was like, oh, let me try being an investor for a little bit because
So, you had basically 2 more years left until you came back, or how did it work?
one
Like
year,
one
1 year.
year. Got you. Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
because I had 2 years and then I used
Yeah.
one of those to like be at McKinsey. And then the
Got you.
second year, I was like, now I don't need to, like, I've done McKinsey. I
Yeah.
definitely could be doing something fun. Like, let me
Hmm.
see. I hadn't spent time in India since I was 15. So I was like, oh, let me
Right.
go see the market, see what it's like. So I went
Yeah.
and worked in impact investing in India.
Got you.
And I, you never know how life, like, the
Plays out.
paths like, you on, right?
Yeah.
When I made my decision about HBS versus Stanford, which was in like May 2017, I
Hmm.
kind of was like, I want to go down the GSP path because I think I want to be an entrepreneur. I know I'm going to want to build something, like all of that.
Yeah.
Through that, right, I like meet some other Stanford India people. When I moved to Bangalore, one of them is like, oh, I'm actually hosting a dinner. Why don't you join my dinner that
Right.
I'm like having? So I land at 8 a.m. on a Monday, and at 8 p.m., I go to this dinner.
Right.
And I end up sitting next to this founder who's like, oh, I'm building this online tutoring company. We want to do like personalized learning. Like it basically sounded like this vision of like, can you make like Exeter, which is a school that has a $1.2 billion endowment, can you
Right.
like actually make something like that accessible to like 1.2 billion Indians? And I
Right.
loved the idea. I was like so sold on what he was building. And it actually sounded like something that I would be like, oh yeah, this is what I would want to build post GSV.
Right.
I actually ended up quitting my job and joining as head of product at this
Mm.
guy's startup. I also ended up marrying him. So that ended up
Oh,
really
that's a twist. Damn. Okay.
so that ended up being a really, again,
Wow.
you never know. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
like I think choosing Stanford, choosing the entrepreneurial path and choosing that direction, it led me along to find someone who was equally aligned to the value set that I had, which was
Right.
impact, entrepreneurship, building
Hmm.
something, independence, like this life
Hmm.
that's like bigger than just like what you want and your own like money
Hmm.
and fame and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I always think it's really interesting to like when people are like, oh, how do you meet someone? I'm like, you should really think about like what are the values you hold and what are the values you would want that person to have, because
Right.
then why not like you should put yourself in situations where you're likely to meet someone who fits those things.
Right.
um
I'm
so yeah,
actually
crazy story there.
no, that's a great story. I spurred a thought. So I'm a student of psychology. I love studying psychology, and it seems like throughout this whole story you were saying, you have a very keen sense of purpose. Like with auntie being the match or your nani being a matchmaker, you kind of imbibed a lot of your sense of purpose to the point where you were ready in your mind of what the person who you would potentially see as a partner, you had those qualities ready. I feel like a lot of people who struggle in dating today, they don't know who they are. They don't, understand their identity. They don't have clarity over the sense of purpose. So when they look for someone to complete them, they don't know what they're looking for. So do you think that's something modern dating
It's
combats?
actually, I think, modern life, right?
Modern
Like,
life,
I think
right?
we are almost like surrounded by so many like things and
Mhm.
options. Whether it's like what career, like you look on
Yeah.
Instagram, it's like, oh, what
Mhm.
destination should I go to for my holiday? Like, what
Right.
there's so much optionality in
Yeah.
every part of our lives
Mhm.
that we sometimes end up being like, well, there could be something better out there. And we don't spend enough time thinking, like you said,
Right.
what do we really want, right? Like, and
Mhm.
it's like, I think that like one thing that has really been my thing in life is that
Mhm.
I tend to be a very reflective person, and I spend a lot of time like actually thinking about like what I want from a situation and like
Mhm.
why. Like people are always surprised by my, sorry, I'm gonna tug this up. Let this
I know the struggle.
actually like why is these not having a charge?
Oh, that's what your light looks like. I got this like Amazon ring light thing. So this thing. Wait, oops.
Oh,
Heck,
that
heck,
was okay, perfect. We're
perfect.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think like through my life, I've really like been like very deliberate about like
Mhm.
how do I want to navigate things. You know, people are always surprised by like, Indian girl goes to like boarding school in New Hampshire. Like
Right,
what that? And it was, I've always been a bit like, okay, well, what's this step going to take me to the next step? And what's the
right,
next step going to be? I try to think like further up ahead.
right.
And that's been something that's really, really important. So I will say like that being rational is
Mhm.
really important.
Mhm.
And it's sort of like contrast to like the what I say about being romantic, because I
Right.
love romance, but I'm actually pretty rational when it even
Mhm.
comes to love, where
Yeah.
I think that one of the, well, it's all funny how these all things rotate back to like invisible.
Yeah.
In May 2017, clearly a moment of my life that was
Yeah.
really important. I actually went to revisit Stanford, right?
I see.
And yes, to like kind of just see where do I see myself going to school.
Right.
And once I'd gotten in, and I was there when Sheryl Sandberg was speaking, who's
I
always
see.
been someone I really look up to. And she was doing a closed door view from the top. She's also like, this was right actually after her husband had passed away very suddenly on a treadmill.
Oh
And she was
wow.
talking, she had stopped talking about lean in and she was really talking about plan B and like
Right.
grief and moving on in life partnership. And I remember someone asked a question, which was, when you were in our seats and it was like,
Yeah.
another young woman. It's like, what was the piece of advice you wish someone had told you? And she said that the most important decision you make in your life is who you pick as your life partner. And
100%.
that's the highest correlation to your professional success, your happiness, and like the end of life satisfaction. And
Right.
I just remember hearing that and being like, yes, that makes sense because
Yeah.
ultimately, whether you work at McKinsey or Goldman Sachs, whether you go to
Mhm.
Harvard or Stanford, whether like you go to VC or become a private equity guy, like
Mhm.
these all feel like much more small decisions that are not going to be so dramatically different and not so irreversible. But
Right.
this decision of picking your life partner, it just was like, it haunted me in a way that I
Yeah.
couldn't really describe it. It's like, wow, she's like hit
Yeah.
the nail on it. This is going to be the most important decision of my life. So I
Yeah.
better be approaching this with the same degree of thoughtfulness that I am approaching my career, my colleges, my grad school, like all of
Right.
these things. And I actually went home and broke up with the guy I was dating, like immediately. Like it was like
Really? After
this
that,
is not, this is
wow.
not who I want to be. And not and then after that, meaning like 1 hour after that, I left
Oh my
Stanford
God.
and broke up with him and was like,
So interesting.
I know this. I know the journey my life's taking, and this is not the journey I'm going to be happy with. And so I really like, like hopefully one day
Yeah.
I will meet her and I'll get to share what a massive
Yeah.
impact she's on my life because of
Definitely.
this. And I still think about it. So it's again those like connective threads like throughout
Right.
that come in.
Mhm.
So I spent a year in India, met my now husband. We like built a edtech company together.
Oh wow.
Um, got to see like early stage startup life. Like got to
Mhm.
go through fundraise. Got to go through like co-founder drama. Like
Mhm.
went like 0 to 1 product building. Like
Right.
working with engineers. Like
Mhm.
really like for someone who studied politics in school, this was trial by fire
Right.
because I had so much expertise in education. It
Uh-huh.
was easy enough to be a product manager. I think like given that I had never done product before,
Yeah.
it I would have really struggled if I didn't have like a very clear vision of like this is actually what we need to build. And it felt like these ideas had been sitting in my head for a really long time.
Right.
And then I was like with a heavy heart that I actually left and went back to school because I committed that I was going in 2 years.
So
And San Francisco,
you were doing long distance with your then partner,
yeah,
like I
yeah,
mean now
yeah, yeah.
partner as well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But it's still, I actually love the word partner more than I love the word husband because I think
Gotcha.
it's so much more descriptive of
Right.
like what our dynamic is. It's not like
Right.
husband wife. It's we're actually like we're
Life
partners.
partners. Right. 100%.
And so I did long distance. Yeah. So I did long distance and we were doing SF. to Bombay
Oh
while
wow.
I was at business school and he was building like a Series A company.
Yeah.
So crazy pressure to put on a relationship. But to me, again, you pick people who you know get it, right? Like
Right.
I could never date someone who expected me not to pursue my dreams in order to like make place for theirs. I
Yeah.
could also never date someone who didn't have their own dreams.
Right.
So like we were both at this phase of like, wow, we're both building and we're
Uh-huh.
building separate from each other right now, but we're
Yeah.
building with the same goals and aims in mind, right? Like we both
Right.
want to make sure that we can build these big companies that have big impact on the world. And
Right.
part of that is like we're going to be good partners to each other on that like journey.
Yeah, so as someone who is a success story in real life and who's building a mechanism for other people to find their partners, what would you say in terms of, let's say, attachment styles, ambition? These are things we don't see on Hinge, Bumble, Tinder.
Yeah.
It's not thought about. So in your AI curation, like how do you implement some of these things that, you found someone, you resonated with them? How do you help your users solve some of these problems?
So part of like why I'm building what I'm building is because I like really do feel like my theory of matchmaking is pretty simple, right? Like
Mhm.
I believe that you want to introduce people who have on this the axis, right? Like
Right.
they are on the same page when
Yeah.
it comes to values and long-term goals. And
Mhm.
then you want them to be actually complementary when it
Mhm.
comes to personality traits and interests. You're not trying to find people who are exactly alike, but you're
Right.
trying to find people who are going in the same direction, but will keep each other entertained along the way.
Oh yeah.
And that is probably the best way to describe what I do with my life and why I'm
Mhm.
building Sitch. Like I truly do believe in this. And
Mhm.
all the couples who have successfully matched fit
Mhm.
that like same XY axis where I knew them well enough. I knew the individual, the girl and the guy, and I knew what the answers were to those values and long-term goals, and I knew their personalities well
Mhm.
enough. I had far more data about these people
Right.
than Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder will
Right.
ever have as a user, right? Because what they're getting is basic demographic details, and they're asking you to write random prompts. So the
Right.
compatibility score is a total joke because there's tens of thousands of people who meet your like probably your like ethnic, religion, race,
Yeah.
like age filters.
Right.
But what they're not really able to check for is a range of factors about like even let's start with like where do you want to live long term? Like what are your responsibilities? What are your life goals? Like what
Right.
like it's not just about like, oh, do you want kids? It's like
Mhm.
how many kids do you want? Do you want to raise them in India? Do you want to raise them like in the suburbs? Do you want to raise them in the city? Do you
Right.
want to have a career? Do you want to have a career where you both are equal partners? Do you want to
Mhm.
split the rent? Like what? Let's talk about like all of
Yeah.
these things are so important. And the one thing is that I feel strongly about. I sound like I feel strongly about a lot of things, but one of the things that's really important to me is this idea that there isn't a one size fits all pattern, right?
100%.
Like today, what works with for me and my husband might not will probably not work for 99% of the other people. What
Right.
works for you and your girlfriend will probably not. It's not about one type of relationship and modeling this behavior. It's actually about saying relationships are so fundamentally unique and people are so unique that we're actually looking at a large data problem. We're
Yeah.
literally saying, like, hey, if I had perfect information about everyone in the world, I could actually match you far better because I have all this information.
Right.
Now, no one in their right mind is going to put this kind of really personal, deep information on their Hinge profile. People
Right.
screenshot that, people laugh about it,
Mhm.
people like it's not a place to be like honest and vulnerable and open.
Yeah.
But that's why, in some ways, matchmakers or like this third party concept really works because
Mhm.
today, if my friends are telling me about what they're looking for, I'm not revealing that information to the person. I'm merely like saying, oh, I know you're looking for XYZ. I know this
Mhm.
person is looking for ABC. He
Right.
has XYZ and you have A, B, and C. So
Right.
let me get you guys. I don't need to reveal the A, B, and C and the X, Y, and Z to anyone. So that's the beauty of like a third party platform that's able to do some of like the leveraging. Now
Yeah.
with human, we can only compute so much amount of data at any given
Yeah.
point, right? And I experienced this because last year in January, this is like kind of skipping things along, but like
All good.
I had just wrapped up, like I had been working on like a pilot in in the dating space called
Mhm.
Setup. Had a co-founder. We ended up realizing it wasn't a good fit for each other and like parting ways.
Mhm.
And I knew I wanted to build something in matchmaking. Like I just knew
Yeah.
it. And the advice you always get is do things that don't scale and do like a low code, no code, right?
Mm.
All
Yeah.
I did was I created a form. I was like, I've set up people who've gotten married. give me your info, I'll introduce you, right? It's like,
Right.
you know what? Maybe like 15, 20 people will sign up. I'll just post it
Right.
on my Instagram. I'll make a little reel about it and we'll, like
Yeah.
see if people send it. I
A
had
lot of people.
4,000 people sign up.
Ooh.
4,000. 4,000 people from everywhere, from Bombay to Beirut,
Hmm.
Fiji, like I obviously New York. Like
Hmm.
it was, I looked at it and was like, this is, I
It's a big
cannot,
problem to solve. It's a big problem
yes,
that exists in society, like to solve.
yes. It was clear validation of like the
Yeah.
thesis, but it was also like, even if I had this, I have some amount of information on these 4,000 people. For me to sit and call each of these 4,000 people up, spend 30 minutes to an
Hmm.
hour, then note down all of their details, then put on this information. Like we've all seen Indian matchmaking with Seema Auntie and books and like pieces of
Yeah.
paper. It's that's not like I want to
Yeah.
stand for. And like I like when you're
Yeah.
like, this is a tech problem. This is
Yeah.
not a like you cannot solve this with the human capital
Right.
unless it is really expensive. You can solve this better with technology and you can do it at a fraction of the cost.
Right.
So I was looking at all of the stuff that was happening with LLMs and was like, it's there. I see like the bits and pieces that
Right.
exist. Like I know that fundamentally, like matchmaking is a service. AI will eat services for breakfast. It should be
Yeah.
like like 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
We should be able to replicate these human matchmaking flows with like a well fine-tuned LLM with like really strong prompt engineering. Of course,
Yeah.
like I'm not an engineer. I actually like was like, I can't build this myself.
Right.
And I got introduced through a mutual friend to Chad, my co-founder, who
Guy on
I
the reel. Yeah.
yes, who's like the best person ever.
Hmm.
Um, and we were introduced on a call.
Hmm.
We got on a call, like a 30-minute call, ended up chatting for 2 hours. It was so clear.
Hmm.
Like it is hard to sometimes describe like what it was that like I left and I told my husband, I'm going to build something with him. Like I know it. Like
Synergy was there, basically.
it was not just, I think like it's kind of like co-founder dating is like regular dating, like
Interesting.
the, and I mean, all relationships ultimately are like, on paper, things can look good,
Yeah.
but there has to be some X factor. Like there's
Yeah.
like it's like, yeah, you can, there's a lot of great resumes out there, but like, are those people going to be your friends, your girlfriends, their boyfriends, your co-founders? No, there has to be something that just like works, like something
Clicks.
missing.
Yeah.
And that's actually like, funnily enough, like where we always come down to where like, we can probably give you 15, 20 really great options from the data, but
Yeah.
you need to put those people in real life. Like that's why we're not like at Sitch, we don't offer like, hey, here's what, you get one match and that one match is your perfect person, because there's this intangible X like
Yeah.
element that exists in a range of different ways. So me and Chad met, and he is actually like, he's very senior led engineering teams at Snapchat for games, Bitmoji, and security.
Mhm.
The SVP at Uniswap, was the CTO of the Whisper app. Like he's like
Whoa.
a 50-year-old straight white dude named Chad.
OG.
Like
Yeah.
it's very different from what you expect a
Yeah.
like a dating app founder to look like.
Yeah.
To that, I tell people, I'm like, why like abide by conventions on this? Like that's
Right.
like, I knew what my skill set was like,
Mhm.
I don't know how to scale tech infrastructure. I don't know how to build like super complicated tech products. I
Mhm.
want to be with someone who like is like 10x smarter than me on the places that I have a gap. And I
Right.
will actually say that's exactly how I feel in like relationships as well.
Mhm.
Like I am not a calm person. My husband
Right.
is the most like calm, stoic person known to mankind. I will freak out about everything. He will laugh about a problem. Like
Right.
you need people who can balance you. You need to be aware of your own shortcomings and your own strengths,
Yeah.
and then find people who balance you out in a range of different things, right?
Yeah.
And so Chad and I like started working together. It was phenomenal. It was so like
Yeah.
it really felt like, oh, like this is it. Like
Yeah.
things are working. So we've been working together a while. And when we started, we were like, oh, we're doing like dating advice, we're doing matchmaking, we had a bunch of different ideas.
Yeah.
But last July, so like a little over 6 months ago, we really committed to actually going down the matchmaking path. Like we saw the LLMs were really like you were able to do the things we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we became even more convinced as we looked at the market that the most like people were sick and tired of swiping. Like they were sick and
Right.
tired of a self-serve model in dating, when
Yeah.
in all other aspects of their life, they had a non-self-serve model. you know.
Right.
So you're used to having a trainer, you're used to having a therapist, a career coach, an executive coach, a
Yes.
nutritionist. Like you have all these things, all these people who are giving you the resources and help to make your life better.
Hmm.
But then when it came to your dating life, you're like, let me swipe, swipe,
Hmm.
swipe, swipe, and let's hope that the luck favors me somehow. Even though in some ways Hinge is always like you're playing against the house and the house always wins,
Yeah,
right? Like
definitely.
not really designed to be deleted. It's designed like it's a monthly subscription. They want you to stay on. Like then
Right.
like revenue models don't make sense otherwise. So we really were like, we know we want to build this and we want to build something cool.
Yeah.
And that's what like the last few months has been like really getting the product to where it needs to be. And then in December we started like yeah, people could start creating their profiles around November.
Yeah.
December we started accepting the first few users, and it's really been like January and February that we've been really like matching a ton of people, watching the setups happen and like
Mhm.
all of that. And you know, to your listeners, if like you can sort of just take a step back and be
Yeah.
like what we're really building is like we basically built a matchmaker that's super personalized to you. You join Sitch, you answer a bunch of questions that help the AI get to know you,
Hmm.
your personality, your likes, dislikes, your values, your long-term goals, and then the AI uses all of that. Like it's all free text and voice. So we
Right.
use that to like build out like a profile of like what you're really looking for. And we use that to then send you very curated introductions.
Hmm.
When both people say yes, your matchmaker actually creates a group chat and
Oh.
introduces you. So it feels very old school, high touch.
Yeah.
And then the matchmaker checks in on you, like as the dates are progressing to like understand. So it's a very, very like we've replicated almost exactly the flow of a human matchmaker, but we do it at a fraction of the cost, and we're doing it like very like it's so cool. Like
It is. Yeah.
it really is like a reminder of like the future is here, the future is
Mhm.
awesome. Was like it's incredible. And
Yeah,
so
I really I think the entrepreneur journey, to my listeners, like that is very inspiring here, because you had the drive, you put the pieces together of, okay, this is what I think could work. This is what traditional matchmaking in Indian society it looks like. This is how I think it could work. You found the technology co-founder who could solve the problem. And was there any direct competition? Was Dil or anything close to an actual matchmaking service in the market already? No. Okay,
no,
so
I mean, like all of these are not really like competitors.
got
And
you.
like everyone and their mom is like, oh, I'm building a dating app. It's like, yeah, but do you have a technological advantage that you can really win?
Right.
And guess what? We own the patents in the space. So
That's
like,
genius. It's the
yeah,
first, it's like the unicorn product in terms of having, like you said, a therapist or a trainer, an AI version. And the I saw the AI, it's Dini with your picture. So you're the matchmaker. And they set up curated, people. So now you said you have launched the app in December of last year. What are some testimonials? Have people actually met? How have they compared it to apps like Hinge and Tinder, Bumble, and so forth? And what makes you think that you have solved some of the gaps that a lot of these apps had, but not in theory, but in practice of what people saw?
so we'll start with the qualitative and move to the quantitative. So
For sure.
qualitatively, I think like the most interesting thing for me was someone came up to me at a Pilates class and was like,
Hmm.
hey, I use your app, which is always crazy to me when people recognize me from my app. Like it's like,
Right.
oh my God, literally
Not the
you've
Instagram, the app. Yeah.
spoken to AI version
Yeah.
of me.
Right.
And she was like, I've been single for 8 months.
Yeah.
I've spoken to one guy on Hinge who I
Right.
like really like.
Hmm.
I joined Sitch, and the first person that I was introduced to was that guy. She was like, your algorithm works. Like,
Whoa.
and I was like, I
There we
know it
go.
does. Literally, that's exactly what I keep hearing from people, where it's like, oh, this is exactly who I'm looking for. Like, I want, like, people would go on the date and be like, chemistry was missing, but this is exactly, like, you got it right. Like,
Right.
it makes sense. Like, literally, like, I've heard from so many people being like, oh, this took away so much of the time because I knew that this person already met all these things, right? Like it was
Yeah.
not like I need to go due diligence them on the date. Like it's invite only. It's like very much catering to like most of the people on the app have a master's degree of some kind. Like
Right.
it's very much like your 28 to like now even early
Mhm.
40s age demographic, serious
Mhm.
intentional daters. There's also a really different buy-in, right? Like
Mhm.
from like on there's 8% of people on existing dating apps pay for it. So there isn't an
Right.
incentive to take it seriously. For us, all our users are paid users and they buy a pack of setups from us. So you buy 5 setups for 125. And the setup
Right.
really means that both of you are introduced to each other and you
Right.
both said yes. So it's
Yep.
like when you've both paid 25 for that intro, you are going on that date. Like you're not wasting each other's time. Like
Yeah.
you said yes because you're very excited and you
Yeah.
are going to go on the date because you've already committed,
Right.
like it's a very different setup than
Yeah.
existing apps, right? And we're hearing the qualitative feedback, and then we're seeing like people are going on 5x more dates than
Mhm.
existing dating apps from just the early data set. And they're spending like the average person is spending over $100 on our app from the get-go. If you think about the LTV of existing apps, the
Mhm.
LTV, not
I
your first
completely.
transaction, your LTV for your paid customers of your, which is 8%, is
Mhm.
like 125 or like 200, like sorry, it's 150
Right.
on these different apps. And it's like we know we are going to beat that, right? Like,
Right.
but the thing is, honestly, we're not really trying to, we're like category defining, right?
Yeah.
We are building an AI agent for dating.
Right.
Like, that is not like your swiping apps will be replaced. Like, of
Yeah.
course they will. Don't work their self-service model. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to spend 100, like swiping on 100 profiles a day,
Yeah.
having useless conversations with people like this back and forth. It doesn't work. Like,
Yep.
like the match and Bumble stock is like such a low point right now. Like,
Mhm.
so it's like it's almost like I'm not even trying to make an argument for like why these things don't work because we already know they don't work. The
Yeah.
question is what can make it better. And I think for the last few years, people have done like more and more like smaller groups, like, oh, this is for Christian farmers, this is for
Mhm.
Indians, this is
Highly
for
niched.
Muslims who are
Right.
practicing. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but then that makes it super limiting on
Right.
like your identity and character. Like it's like the thing is like I think I would have been okay to marry someone not Indian, but they had to be all of these other things. I would have
Right.
preferred meeting someone. Like it's like making it smaller and smaller doesn't make the pool better. Like it
Right.
becomes niche and like your dream person might not be on there. So we're really trying to like build something that feels
Mhm.
like a high end matchmaker, but
Mhm.
just very accessible and affordable. And this idea of accessibility and affordability is actually probably the theme of my life, right? Like it's like
Mhm.
I care deeply about education and like giving people the opportunity to have high quality education. That was like why I was so excited about building an ed tech, and why eventually I will definitely go back to India and be in politics for the sole purpose of
Oh
like
wow.
building an education sector there,
Mhm.
right? Like I care a lot about access. I don't
Mhm.
like the idea that like being the best version of yourself is something that's an
Mhm.
elite idea. I
Right.
would want, and like with the advent of like AI and the
Mhm.
idea that like coaching, which was such a human, it was resource constrained by like high quality humans,
Yeah.
or like teaching can become something that more people have access to, and that we can all be better versions of ourselves. And that's actually the ultimate like hope of Sitch, right? It's like
100%.
we want to take you on this journey because we want to give you all of this like help and guidance and feedback and ask you the questions about what you're really looking for. And after you go on that date, be like, well, how did you feel about it?
Yeah.
Like, did you feel like you could chat with this person for the rest of your life? Like, did
Mhm.
you feel like you would be excited about it? Because people don't ask us these questions,
Yeah.
like, and we're like, I just have this vision of like how can we help everyone make the best possible decision for
Mhm.
the most important decision in their lives?
100%. I think the crux of where Sitch kind of sits above a lot of these apps is the aspect of you need to know yourself well so that Sitch can find you a person who will know themselves well, and then it'll work. Like I think what worked for my girlfriend and I, we knew each other, we knew ourselves well. So then the swiping thing kind of worked because we both had like breakups from people in Seattle, stuff like that. We both grew up in Bangalore, so stuff was in common. There's so many apps like Coffee Meets Bagel. There's, like versions of Hinge, but it doesn't kind of let people figure themselves out first. It kind of throws them to the market. The potential bottleneck, or to play devil's advocate a little bit, do you think to asking the user too many questions about themselves and their preferences, do you think that works in an intentional dating market, or do you think it works only with people who want to know themselves well? Do you think those too many questions can deter some people, or do you think it will
I
work?
think it's like Like, sure, if you don't want to answer the question, like, it's like we're literally asking you like about what you're looking for, right? And if you're
Right.
like, I don't know what I'm looking for, it's like, well, it's going to be hard to like solve your problem. And we also understand people don't like, it's not constant. It always
Right.
changes, right? Your hint profile, most people don't like keep going back to it and updating it and like
Yeah.
reflecting on it. And like, that's one of the beauties of having an AI agent, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's like you can go on 5 dates with like 5 Indian guys and be like, you know what? Actually, this ain't it. Like, I want to like, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like I want to, you can be specific. Even what you said right now about
Yeah.
like we're from Bangalore, we both had
Mhm.
breakups in Seattle. That's not a filter on Hinge.
Yeah.
That's right. Like, that's
Mhm.
not, you swiped enough
Mhm.
and you found that. And I'm willing to bet neither of you had written, we had breakups from Seattle on our
Nope.
profiles. And you had maybe written hometown Bangalore, but you
Yeah.
didn't like filter for that one, or you
Yeah.
couldn't filter. Like on Sitch,
True.
that would have literally, the bot would have probably been like, hey, by the way, you guys literally might already know each other from Bangalore. Like,
Yeah.
and like, you're both really looking for something serious at this point. Like,
Right.
and like you've come out of long, like you can share and reveal this
Mhm.
information and search and filter on this in a way that you can't do on any of these existing apps.
Right. No, you're 100% right on that. I think, and especially for intentional daters right now, I think the market is different for people who are just looking to, meet people in college, hook up, those kind of people.
Yeah.
Intentional
And it's
dating is completely different.
totally fine. It's
Yeah.
totally fine. Listen, if you're not looking for something serious and you don't want to spend 20 minutes of your time answering questions,
Yeah. There's
that's
others
fine.
place.
There's other places for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that every single person like needs to be on Sitch at
Yeah.
every point in their life. But
Yeah.
there comes a point where you're like, yeah, I actually want to find someone who I can build a life with.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when it comes down to that, like maybe you get really lucky and you just
Mhm.
happen to meet that person out in the wild.
Definitely.
But a lot of the times we just don't. And sometimes even like the people you meet out in the wild, right? Like it might not be the best possible fit for you. So how can you think like more deeply about what the right fit could be? And
Right.
I love the idea of like exploration and like
Mhm.
figuring out more about yourself. But there's also people who like kind of are like giving like shitty answers. That's fine.
Yeah.
You'll get shitty matches, or you'll get like, but the bot
It's on
kind of
you.
gives you feedback being like, oh, like you said you like traveling, like
Mhm.
that's really not specific. Like,
Yeah.
that's
So it
info.
does catch some of those things where if you're not specific yourself, it'll probe you with
More
questions.
question. That's
Interesting.
the nice part, right? Because it's not like, I think it's not static, right? It's
Right.
like the
It's
beauty of
dynamic.
LLMs is that I'm not asking you to fill out a form. I'm actually asking you to have a conversation. So
Gotcha. Gotcha.
that's
Very
that
interesting.
is so different. And that's actually like the promise of all of this, right? It's
Mhm.
like really deeply human experiences
Mhm.
in a way that we've not like had before in our lives, like
Mhm.
that are like you know I'm just like endlessly excited about this like time and era that we find ourselves in, and like and I do think the future is going to be written by the people who are building in this space, because you can either build it to make us more human and more connected, or you can be on the other end and be like, forget all this, I'm going to build an AI girlfriend. Like who can bother to meet people in real life? Like here's like a
Yeah.
sex bot,
Oh my
and then
God. Yeah.
people who are going to build different things, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for the original like ideas behind why Replica was built.
Right.
What its now uses is very different,
Right.
very, but I have a lot of respect for where it started from, which was like actually like revealed to all of us that like, yeah, like people are lonely and people are down to talk to an AI agent, and like you
Yeah.
can either make them dependent on that agent, or you
Mhm.
can make them use that agent to like benefit connection. And
Yeah.
that's what got me really excited. It's like, okay, we get to decide how we want to build in this space. And Chad and I are both like, when we like founded like our like holding companies called Unusual Circumstances, and our like
Mhm.
manifesto is like, we make technology that connects us and makes us better humans. And that's what we really, really believe in, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we also like what everything we're doing at Stitch, we've patented across like networking, friendship. Like we really see ourselves as like, Chad is super social, I'm super social. We love connecting
Yeah.
people. We love being part of communities and broader networks and whatnot. And I think it's really important that like we think about how AI plays a role in actually like making us more connected rather than making us more isolating, and allowing us to just like I don't like products in which it's like my AI friend will talk to other AI friends, or like, here's my social media and only AI bots are going to respond to it. Like, no, I don't want that.
Right.
I want my IRL world to be improved on by agentic AI.
100%. And that's where the world is headed anyway, right? Because like my family moved from India and they have the whole like matchmaking concept. They were arranged married and stuff. But when it comes to like, okay, I'm getting 27, my sister is 18, what is the mechanism for them to find us a match? There is none. It's on a digital platform. People are gravitating from Facebook to Instagram. So the path forward is being built in a way by people like you and the apps that you guys are building. And I feel like unusual circumstances can probably help in event management. It can help in realms other than dating as well, networking, career coaching, you know. So
Just
it's
friendship, like friendship to me is
friendship.
like an interesting one. Also, just connecting like-minded people. Like, I yeah, I think you can look at like technology is not inherently bad or good.
Right.
AI is not inherently bad or good. It's our applications and uses of this.
Yeah.
Similar to how like some people really thrive on social media and some people find it really disastrous for their mental health.
Yeah.
And it's always about applications, always about the intention of the people building the products. And like we're kind of approaching it and being like, hey, I know, like I want to help people find their purpose. I want to make dating less isolating. I want to make it less gamified. I want to make it less frustrating. I want to make it less about like less difficult and
Yeah.
more exploratory and more interesting and more deep and meaningful. And like that's what we're going towards. Like that's like
Yeah.
really like my North Star. Like are you do you like even if it's you go on a date and it's not your person, did
Yeah.
you leave like I'm glad I was here?
Right. Or I'm glad I know myself better and my preferences better through this app experience, you know? So that
Yeah.
can definitely drive a lot of value. Yeah, one question I had. So I have a mentor. His name is Sahil Bloom. I don't know if you know him. He's this huge influencer guy. He attacked. I love books, so he self-published a book recently. It's called Five Types of Wealth, and there's some people who are disruptors. Where he came in, he had 20K subscribers on YouTube. I have a lot more than that, but I saw how he went from 0 to 1 so fast, where he had the book, he had the social media presence, he put an ad on Times Square. Next thing I know, he's on like some of the biggest podcasts. He's taken this book and it's become a New York Times bestseller. I see a similar pattern with you and Sitch because the enormous amount of drive you have, and you have very strong technical co-founder. Sitch already with your Instagram following, I see that it's on the cusp. So as an entrepreneur, what takes a product from 0 to 1 and beyond? Is it, and how do you do that in our digital changing world today? You know, like how have you gotten Sitch to the point where like I see it everywhere now in on reels? Is that your own understanding or instinct of Instagram? Is it something Stanford taught you? Is it something you picked up? Like, yeah.
I actually think like part of the answer is like virality can be
Hmm.
really fleeting.
Right.
So I actually would like if I were giving advice to someone, it would be like, don't focus on the viral moments. The viral moments will come. Like
Right.
what you're not seeing is like this has been like a 2.5 year slog. Like I built a
Right.
company, I cut it down. I've been building this for like a while. Like yes, people are now seeing stuff for the last like month, 2 months, but that's the backs of like years of like effort, right?
I see.
And it's you make incremental progress every day, and like virality will come. I think people who are hacking virality,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of people who are good at like getting like 1 million downloads or like 100,000 downloads on an app in like 1 week. And it's like, yeah, did any of those users stick around? Like you were able to
Retention.
create like a viral moment, but did it ever lead to anything that was actually meaningful? And what you can do, what you really should be doing is not focusing on like early numbers, like press, social media views and likes and all of that. I still firmly believe you build a product that people want and they will come. Like you will slowly and steadily build something. I wish that I was sitting here being like, hey, I have 100,000 users already. I don't. I
Mhm.
know my 100,000 users will come. Like, I absolutely know they will come because I am building very thoughtfully the
Mhm.
kind of product where you come in and you're like, fine, I don't like my first five matches. I believe in this product. I understand why it's being built. I understand what it's asked of me, and I understand how it's going to work.
Right.
And that's actually like being thoughtful and being really driven about like why are you building this, right? You're
Mhm.
not building this to get like I don't want to be like it's like I don't care about like getting an article in XYZ place or like a
Mhm.
billboard in Times Square.
Yeah.
What I care about at the end of the day is did I build a massive company that changed the world?
Mhm.
And whether it comes in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, I need to know with like single minded like focus. This is where I'm going. This is what matters. And I think we're all fundamentally like we are driven by certain things and we care
Mhm.
about certain things. So how do you focus on like again like finding what that thing is for you? And
Mhm.
like entrepreneurship is not fun. It's not
Oh yeah.
sexy. It's actually a slog.
Yep.
Like we don't talk about a lot of it. Like it's really become glamorized in a big
Mhm.
way. But actually, like they're like most of the time you're like running around with your like a headless chicken. You're
Yeah.
stressed like about a million different things. You don't know where your next paycheck is coming from. You don't know if you're gonna meet numbers. You don't know if like a better funded competitor is gonna come out of the like the blue. You
Mhm.
don't know any of this. But what you have to believe is that every day when you wake up, you actually care about what you're building and you connect deeply with the why you're building it. So
Definitely. A great answer. Yeah, definitely. That will help me and a lot of entrepreneurs. One question I had, what about safety and protecting the users? You know, there's things like catfishing. Love bombing is more of like a interpersonal thing. It's like people
yeah,
in emotional manipulation, verification, ghosting, breadcrumbing. How does Sitch kind of deal with some of these?
we can't really like love bombing and breadcrumbing. Like these are all
Those
things
are
that like
people.
people are doing. Like that's hard for us to be like because we don't monitor one-on-one chats. Like if you're
Right.
talking to somebody on the app, like that's a huge invasion of privacy for me to come in and be like, you
Right.
shouldn't be saying this. However, catfishing is crazy. I saw this with my first dating app I built. I'm like, I literally am asking you for a verification selfie. If you pretended to be a blonde girl and you are a
Yeah.
man, why have you sent your selfie? Like, did you think I
Yeah.
wasn't going to check? So
Yeah.
we do that, but it's like identity verification is super important. And we currently don't have like we haven't like added in LinkedIn and Instagram, but we will add those in at a later stage. But so far we're just finding like because we have an invite code, that actually is like a good screening mechanism.
Right.
Um, and the verification selfie is like really good. I honestly, I'm a girl. Like, I
Yeah.
know it. I think it's like sometimes you're like, oh, like we've forgotten that these things can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
Like it's funny because it's like I forgot how like Uber is a crazy concept when you really think about it. Like I'm getting into
Yeah.
this random stranger's car,
Yeah.
and then when I like started taking Waymos when I was in SF, I was like,
Oh yeah.
wow, I feel so much better. I forgot that I have this like sometimes like I'm like it's super late at night and like an Uber driver is dropping me home. I'm like, I actually don't like the fact that you know that I live here and that
Right.
it's like I unlock the door and like you
Yeah.
like can
It's
see
too
all of
much.
this.
Yeah.
So I think like safety is something we like it's hard in an online world, right? Like to like keep people safe. So we're trying to do our best to
Yeah.
really like make sure people are who they say they are. Unfortunately, we can't control for bad behaviors that happen after we verified that,
Hmm.
but we're definitely like looking into that.
Got you. Yeah, that's great to know, especially with the kind of user base you guys are gonna have. I think that will be phenomenal. Um, are there any cultural kind of stigmas that are facilitated with the aspects of matchmaking? Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we can end it. Um,
Um,
for
I
example,
think
yeah, go ahead.
well, it's funny because I actually think Netflix did my job for me, right? Like in like
Yeah,
normal matchmaking. Like
yeah,
thank you, Netflix, for Indian matchmaking. Thank you for like making everyone be like, wait, do I want an arranged marriage? Do I want to see my auntie? Or, like it's almost like it's amazing when the tides are turning somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm like jumping in now.
yeah,
Like versus like I think 6, 7 years ago, like when like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge were doing pretty
mhm,
well, it'd been hard to come in and be like, why don't you trust a matchmaker?
yeah,
So that has worked. What I think is really lovely for me
yeah,
is that I am very connected to my like Indian heritage, and
Right.
when I Indian heritage, like I go home for 6 weeks a year. Like
Oh.
I am very Indian. Like
Mhm.
in every year we host a big Diwali party, we host a big Holi party. Like this
Yeah.
is my cultural tradition. This is also like my grandmother. Like
Yeah.
it feels so deeply connected to who I am and the things I
Mhm.
care about. And I feel so lucky that I'm able to share this
Mhm.
with the world. And it is very different from like I don't like this it's hard to like be like with like matchmakers in India, there's like a monetary aspect, there's like a lot of stuff around like people being forced into marriages they're unhappy with. Like it's not this like rosy colored picture.
Right.
So I don't want to suddenly be like, oh, like matchmaking in India is perfect and like
Mhm.
all of that. But there is a sense of like, hey, can you trust the people in your life, or can you trust other people to help you make this decision? And I love that I'm able to share that. And I love that like, I get to bring a little part of my like
Yeah.
family background. I think that's actually like maybe the thing that like it's very special to
Yeah.
me. I was home, with my
Mhm.
mommy, and like I was talking about what I do, and she's like 87. Like
Mhm.
it's such a different like, and she like showed me her diaries where
Mhm.
she would like write down all of these things, and like like the landline, like where she like always would like make these phone calls, and like I'm like, look at my database, it's online on my laptop, and my grandma's like, what? Like it's so crazy because you
Yeah.
think about like the cultural legacies and the things we pass on.
Yeah.
And I do feel like there's this big part of her that exists in it, and like my why so
Mhm.
often it's because it's like it's there. Like this is just in me. And it's like so nice to be able
Yeah.
to like think of it as like, she did this for so many couples. I
Yeah.
hopefully will do it for like 26 million people, like
100%.
it's like
Yeah.
that's like at least that's the hope and the goal with this.
No, it's a great message. It's a great purpose. You have a tremendous amount of drive, and I think the big ideas that work, the unicorns and disruptors, they come from a place of surety. Like you know that this worked before. You know how you can make it work in the present and how it'll impact the future. So I know you do have to drop in a bit. So I would personally love to, work with you and Sitch. Also make maybe a review, like not me on the dating app, but one of my friends, and
Yeah.
like see their user journey, see the verification process. Maybe they can meet their person too. I'd love to make like a little video series or podcast in the future with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Would be so happy to do that. As you know, we made a code for you. So any of
Yeah.
your viewers who want to like try and experience it, because Stitch is invite only, we have the code Stoic for
Perfect.
all your viewers. And
Yeah.
that will give them, they'll be able to skip the wait list, which I think currently is at like 6 or 7,000 people. So it is,
Wow.
so please use the code if you're
Yes.
going to join. It's just easier for us to track that way.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be so fun to like watch this, because I think this is going to be a long journey. It's going to be a fun journey, and
Yeah.
it's always so cool to like meet people along the way who are excited and believe in the mission that Chad and I are trying to build.
100%. Yeah, I would love to collaborate. I'll leave the link in the description, the code Stoic. And I'd like to leave with one Stoic quote and what it means to you. So, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Obstacle is the way, by Marcus Aurelius. What does this mean to you?
For me, the only thing that stands between us and what we want is ourselves,
Right.
right? It is like truly like whenever I hear like these things about like life is, it's not about overcoming like the actual things that come. Like it's like you have everything that is needed within you. You are enough, and you are
Yeah.
enough to overcome all of these different things. And things you see as setbacks and things you see as challenges are actually like all of the things that help you along the way. Like every decision, every rejection has been a redirection. Every stumble along the way has only taught me to get up faster. And it's like truly at the end of the day, we are the, like my favorite quote is really just like,
Mhm.
we are the captains of our fate, we are the masters of, I forget the Invictus exact quote, which is horrible, but it's like
Yeah.
that, the idea of like we are truly the masters of our journeys,
Yeah.
and only we cannot look elsewhere for blame, inspiration, competition. We look inwards and we say, what do we want and what is stopping us within ourselves?
Right.
And I look ask that myself every day. I'm like, what's stopping me from giving up sugar? Like probably like myself. It's not
Yeah.
anyone else. So in
Yeah.
the big and the small ways, I think always looking inwards and always competing with yourself and always asking yourself, like, how can I be 1% better tomorrow?
100%. Very stoically put. So, yeah, thank you so much, Dini. Appreciate this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. I definitely resonate with your mission. I'd love to work with you in the future, and I'll let you know. I'll finish the edit in a few days or weeks, and yeah, wish you all the best and much success for Sitch and you as well.
Thank you. You too. And I know we'll be in touch. I'm so glad we did this.
Definitely. Take care. Bye.
Bye.